Hello and welcome to Act 2. So we're going to begin with the prologue. Now, as you are reading and looking through these, one of the key things that you're going to notice is it is easy to get wrapped up in how he says something rather than what he's actually intending to say. So one of the things that I want you to pay attention to as I'm going through this, and I will be reading the original text and breaking it down a little bit. As you're following along, look at the modern text and make sure that you're understanding. I'll break it down a little bit. I prefer the original text because there's so much more flavor to the original text. I also try to keep myself in camera because right now I'm trying to embed the video and everything else, so we'll see how that works. So, chorus. Now old desire doth in his deathbed lie, and young affection gapes to be his heir. That fair for which love groaned for and would die, with tender Juliet matched, is now not fair. The old desire, his love of Rosaline, and young affection gapes to be his heir. So, Romeo, he was overwhelmed with his desire for the fair Rosaline. But when he saw Juliet, Rosaline lost a lot of her glory, we'll say. Now Romeo is beloved and loves again. He's fallen again. Alike bewitched by the charm of looks. They're both in love with how hunky and sexy the other one is. Don't forget, they're like 14 and 16. Little young. But to his foe supposed he must complain, and she still loves sweet bait from fearful hooks. He's not allowed to love her. They're supposed to hate each other, and yet, here they are, in love. Being held a foe, he may not have access to breathe such vows as lover used to swear. And she is much in love, her means much less to meet her new beloved anywhere. She has less of a chance to slip away and find her beloved. But passion lends them power. Time means to meet, tempering extremities with extreme sweet. I actually like how the modern text puts it here. But love gives them power, and time gives them the chance to meet, sweetening the extreme danger with intense pleasure. Think for a moment how amazing it feels when you do something you're not supposed to. Now imagine it's something you want to do so badly it consumes your every waking moment. And mom and dad aren't fans. As much as I am supposed to tell you to listen and to obey your parents, let's just be honest, at least occasionally, you're going to do something wrong. So, enter Romeo, alone. A soliloquy, a touch. Can I go forward when my heart is here? Turn back, dull earth, and find thy center out. Where can I go when this is where my love is, where my heart is? He moves away. Enter Benvolio with Mercutio. Benvolio. Romeo, my cousin, Romeo, Romeo. Mercutio. He is wise, and on my life hath stolen him home to bed. Benvolio. He ran this way and leapt this orchard wall. Call, good Mercutio. So he is wise, and on my life hath stolen him home to bed. He was the smarter one, and he went home already. And Benvolio is saying, he was a coward, and he leapt over the wall. Call to him. Mercutio. Nay, I'll conjure too. Romeo, humors, madman, passion, lover, appear thou in the likeness of a sigh. Speak but one rhyme, and I am satisfied. Cry but I me, pronounce but love and dove, and speak to my gossip Venus one fair word. One nickname for her, pure blind son and heir, young Abraham Cupid, he that shot so true when young Cophetua loved the beggar maid. He heareth not, he stirreth not, he moveth not. The ape is dead, and I must conjure him. I conjure thee by Rosaline's bright eyes, by her high forehead and her scarlet lip, by her fine foot, straight leg, and quivering thigh, and the dimenses that are adjacent lie, that in thy likeness thou appear to us. Mercutio is being a bit aggressive in his calls for the fair Romeo. Ah me, just say love and dove, say just lovely word to my good friend Venus, Venus the goddess of love. Just say the nickname of her blind son Cupid, the one who shot arrows so well in the old story. Romeo doesn't hear me. He doesn't stir, he doesn't move. The silly ape is dead, but I must make him reappear. And now he's casting a spell by mentioning all the things that Rosaline encaptured Romeo's love by. I summon you by Rosaline's bright eyes, by her high forehead and her red lips. By the way, high forehead. This was considered to be a sign of beauty. Women used to pluck the lines of their head for a further receded hairline. Don't ask. I don't understand either. Her red lips, and by her fine feet, her straight legs, and by her trembling thighs. Mercutio is a bit on the dirty side. If he hear thee, thou wilt anger him. He doesn't like to be called out like this. This cannot anger him. 'Twould anger him to raise a spirit in his mistress's circle of some strange nature, letting it there stand till she had laid it and conjured it down. That were some spite. My invocation is fair and honest. In his mistress's name I conjure only but to raise him up. What I'm saying can't anger him. He would be angry if I summoned a strange spirit for her to have sex with. Mercutio is pointing out that Romeo would only be mad if Mercutio had found her a new boyfriend. Or in this case, boy toy. That's what would make him angry. All I'm saying is fair and honest in how he sees it. I simply wish Romeo to show up. Come, he hath hid himself among these trees, to be consorted with the humorous night. Blind is his love, and best befits the dark. Come on, he's hidden himself. His love is blind, so it belongs where no one can see. If love be blind, love cannot hit the mark. Now will he sit under a medlar tree and wish his mistress were that kind of fruit, as maidens call medlars when they laugh alone. Again, then Mercutio is being a little bit aggressive. If love is blind and can't hit the mark, now he'll sit under a medlar tree and wish his mistress were one of those fruit that look like a woman under her garments. Oh, Romeo, that she were. Oh, that she were an open arse, and thou a popper and pear. Romeo, good night. I'll truckle to bed. This field bed is too cold for me to sleep. Come, shall we go? Don't forget, they've been at a party all night. Parties known for their wine and their dancing. Yeah. And when we watch this, I'm figuring that out now. Mercutio is a little aggressive in his mannerisms. Benvolio, go then, for 'tis in vain to seek him here that means not to be found. We can't find him, so let's go home to bed. Romeo returns after listening to his friends giving him such a vivid description. He jests at scars that never felt a wound. They laugh at someone when they have never felt what I've gone through. And we have the infamous window scene. Juliet appears in the window alone. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief, that thou, her maid, art far more fair than she. But not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. But wait. You know what? I think I'll read it in the modern English from here on, because spending all of my time going through this, it's already 10 minutes in and we're barely to scene 2. But wait, what's that light in the window over there? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Rise up, beautiful sun, and kill the jealous moon. The moon is already sick and pale with grief because of you. Juliet, her maid, are more beautiful than she. Oh, Romeo knows how to wax poetic. It is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses. I will answer it. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. 2 of the fair stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What if her eyes were there, they in her head? The brightness of her cheeks would shame those stars. As daylight doth a lamp, her eye in heaven would through the airy region stream so bright, the birds would sing and think it were not night. So bright. The birds would sing and think it were not night. See how she leans her cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek. So, we find Romeo standing in the garden. And he looks up and there's Juliet, enrobed in light. And he looks, and she's even more beautiful than he remembered. The sun pales against her. The stars, twinkling in the night sky, are faded and worthless to her eyes. The moon is envious of her glory and her love. He's so overwhelmed by her that nothing else really matters. God, if only I were a glove on her hand that I might caress her cheek. I would be willing to lose all claim of her to simply be close to her. Ah! She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious as this night. being over my head, as is a winged messenger of heaven, unto the white upturned wandering eyes of mortals that fall back to gaze on him when he bestrides the lazy puffing clouds and sails upon the bosom of the air. He's calling her, entreating her to speak to him, even if it isn't to him. Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet. She's praying, wishing upon the stars that Romeo was not a Montague. Romeo, shall I hear more, or shall I speak of this? He's ready to deny everything for her, and she's as equally ready to deny everything for him. 'Tis but thy name, that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's a Montague? It's not a hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man, or be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other word would smell as sweet. Oh, Romeo would, were he not Romeo cold, retain that dare perfection which he owes, without that title, Romeo. Doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself. Apparently, Romeo is a rose, and his name but the thorn. Remove the thorn, and the rose remains as sweet, if not easier to find. And Romeo, I'll take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I'll never be Romeo. So he calls out to her, shocking her. See, you would be baptized with your Christian name, so he's saying, I will reject my history and all that I have lived until this moment to be named love for you. Boy showing up hard. Juliet, what man art thou that thus bescreened in night so stumblest on my counsel? What kind of man are you that listens into a woman's inner thoughts as she dreams and pines for someone? Romeo, by a name. I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I it written, I would tear the word. My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of that tongue's uttering, yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo, and a Montague? Neither, fair maid, if either thee dislike. Boy's ready to be made into whatever this girl want. I don't care what I am, as long as I'm with you. Every single country song tries to mimic this level of dedication, or talks about what it really looks like. And her so enraptured with that love sonnet, the shared sonnet, which we'll talk about a little later, knows his voice already, despite the fact that they've barely had any time speaking. Their lips were doing a lot of moving, but it had nothing to do with words. Oh. I'm serious. This is a dirty story. Juliet, how camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find thee here. How camest thou to be in front of me. And why? The walls are hard to climb, and if anyone finds you, they'll kill you. Romeo, with love's light wings did I o'er-perch these walls, for stony limits cannot hold love out. And what love can do, thou darest love attempt. Therefore thy kinsmen are no stop to me. Girl, I don't care. For you I would climb the highest mountain. There's nothing these walls could do to me. And I don't care about your kinsmen. Only you. If they do see thee, they will murder thee. Alack, their lives more peril in thine eyes than 20 of their swords. Look thou but sweet, and I am proof against their enmity. Or their enmity. Meaning, girl, you look at me so good. 20 of them could come at me. Wouldn't even matter. Dang, girl, what them eyes do? Like, Romeo's laying it on thick. I would not the world they saw thee here. I have night's cloak to hide me from their eyes. And but thou love me, let them find me here. My love would be better ended by their hate than death prologued, wanting of thy love. I would rather die with you loving me than live without it. By whose direction foundest thou out this place? By love, that first did prompt me to inquire. He lent me counsel, and I lent him eyes. I am no pilot, yet wert thou as far as that vast shore washed with the farthest sea, I would adventure for such merchandise. Oh, I'm not clever enough to be here. Love led me here. Love itself, love as a being, led me to your garden. And it wouldn't matter how far you were, I would follow him just to get a glimpse of you. Thou knowest the mask of night is on my face, else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek. Boy, you talking so sweet you gonna make me blush? For that which thou hast heard me speak tonight, fain would I dwell on form. Fain deny what I have spoke, but farewell compliment. You know what, at this point, I don't even care what you heard me say. But so we'll forget about good manners. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swearest, thou mayest prove false. At lovers' perjuries, they say Jove laughs. O gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully, or if thou thinkest I am too quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse, and say thee nay, so thou wilt woo. But else not for the world. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and therefore thou mayest think my behaviour light. But trust me, gentlemen, I'll prove more true than those that have more coin to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess, but that thou overheardest ere I was ware my true love's passion, therefore pardon me, and I'll not impute this yielding to light love, which the dark night hath so discovered. She lays it all out there. I love you. And if you need the chase, I will be a worthy chase. I will deny you so that you can find a way to chase me. But know this, it is a false chase. I love you and I want you. And I want you to swear to me honestly that you want me. Otherwise, I can't handle it. I will be more fair and more true to you than any of those that might lead you on. She fell hard and fast, and she's being out there. She put her heart in his hands. And Romeo's response, "Lady, by yonder blessed moon I vow, that tips with silver all these fruit tree tops." Juliet, "Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconsistent moon, that monthly changes in her circle orb, lest that thy love prove likewise variable." Don't you dare swear by the moon, is 'cause it gets big and little, and I don't want any of that. What shall I swear by? Do not swear at all. Or if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the God of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee. The God of my idolatry. Idolatry. Idolatry is the worship of false gods. With this phrase, which is the God of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee, she is looking at his body and saying, I worship the way you look, boy. And if you swear by those pecs, those shoulders, that face, oh my God, I'll believe you, because I can't. I'm actually thinking of turning away from God because of them. Which means she's thinking of giving up her vows of chastity and family for him. 0 to 100, awful fast. If my heart's dear love, well, do not swear, although I joy in thee. I have no joy in this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning which doth cease to be, ere one can say it lightens. Sweet good night. This bud of love by summer's ripening breath may prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Good night, as sweet repose and rest come to thy heart as that within my breast. Let's give it a minute. I'm a little overwhelmed. Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied? What satisfaction canst thou have tonight? The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine. Juliet, I gave thee mine before thou didst request it. And yet I would it were to give again. Oh, you don't realize how much I've already given to you. Romeo, wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purpose, love? Juliet, but to be frank, and to give it thee again. And yet I wish, but for the thing I have. My bounty is boundless as the sea, my love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. The more we speak to each other, the more we speak of one another, the more I want you. The nurse calls from within. I hear some noise within, dear love. Adieu. Anon, good nurse. Sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little. I will come again. And Juliet runs inside. Romeo, oh, blessed night, I am afeard. Being a knight, all this is but a dream. Too flattering sweet to be substantial. Please don't let this be fake. Juliet, 3 words, dear Romeo, and good night indeed. If that thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow by one that I'll procure to come to thee, where and what time thou wilt perform the rite, and all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the world. If you are honest, then propose marriage to me tomorrow. But after sleep. And I will choose the messenger, and you choose the time, and we will meet each other. Nurse from within. Madam, I come anon, but if thou meanest not well, I do beseech thee. Madam! Juliet can't get over herself. By and by I come to cease thy strife and leave me to my grief. Tomorrow I will send, so thrive my soul. 1,000 times good night. Exit Juliet above. This is the equivalent of, oh, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you. 20 minutes later, I'm tired. Go to bed. But you have to hang up first because I love you more. Teenagers, man. Scare you. 1,000 times be worse to want thy light. Love goes toward love as schoolboys from their books, but love from love toward school with heavy looks. So, he's equating how much he loves her as to the same despair a schoolboy feels to when he has to learn. But love toward school with heavy looks. Heist, Romeo, heist! Oh, for a falconer's voice, to lure this tasseled gentle back again. Bondage is hoarse and may not speak aloud, else would I tear the cave where Echo lies, and make her airy tongue more hoarse than mine, with repetition of my Romeo. So, there was a legendary nymph in Greek mythology named Echo. And she was constantly a chatterbox, and she was cursed that she could only repeat what was said in front of her. And one day she found the dear, sweet, and beautiful Narcissus, a quite handsome young lad, who was beloved by everyone who saw him, until he looked in a pond of water. And he died there, looking at himself, in love with himself. And Echo died in love with him, merely able to repeat what he had muttered to himself. And so, the cave where Echo dwells, she would sit there and force her to repeat, "Oh, my Romeo," over and over until they both had died. And Romeo, "It is my soul that calls upon thy name. How silver sweet sound lovers' tongues by night, like softest music to attending ears. Romeo, my Naias, my baby hawk, what o'clock tomorrow shall I send to thee? Boy, when we talkin' tomorrow, by the hour of 9. Let me sleep a little. I will not fail. 'Tis 20 year till then. I have forgot what I did call thee back. Oh, they're both just breathing way too hard. Let me stand here till thou remember it. I shall forget to have thee stand still here, remembering how I love thy company. And I'll stand still, to have thee still forgetting any other home but this. 'Tis almost morning. I would have thee gone, and yet no further than a wanton's bird, that lets it hop a little from his hand, like a poor prisoner in his twisted guise, and with the silken thread plucks it back again, so loving jealous of his liberty. I would I were thy bird. Sweet, so would I. Yet I should kill thee with much cherishing. Good night, parting is such sweet sorrow, that I shall say good night till it be morrow. It feels so good to say goodbye, and yet it's so painful that I will continue to say it until tomorrow comes. But tomorrow can't come because tomorrow is never here. Juliet goes to bed. Sleep, dwell upon thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep and peace so sweet to rest. Hence will my ghostly friar's close cell his help to crave and my dear hap to tell. He's going to find a friar, a man of God to perform the rites of marriage. Day 2. You think your relationships go quick. This is day 2. Not even day 2. This is day 1. They met each other way late. Scene 3. Friar Lawrence with a basket. Ah, the gray-haired morn smiles on the frowning night, checkering the eastern clouds with streaks of light, and fleckled darkness with a drunkard reels from forth day's paths and Titan's fiery wheels. Now ere the sun advancing his burning eye, the day to cheer and night's dank dew to dry, I must upfill this austere cage of ours with baleful weeds and precious juiced flowers. The earth, that's nature's mother, is her tomb. What is her burying grave that is her womb? And from her womb children of divers kind, we sucking on her natural bosom find, many of them many for many virtues excellent, none but for some, and yet all different. Oh, mickle is the power grace that lies in herbs, plants, stones, and their true qualities, for naught so vile that on the earth doth live, but to the earth some special good doth give, nor aught for true birth, stumbling on abuse. Virtue itself turns vice, being misplaced, and vice sometime by action dignified. So we are foreshadowing. Friar Lawrence is praising the sun and the sky and the earth. And like it says in the modern translation, I have to fill this basket of mine with poisonous weeds and medicinal flowers. The earth is nature's mother and also nature's tomb. Plants are born out of the earth, and they are buried in the earth when they die. From the earth's womb, many different sorts of plants and animals come forth, and the earth provides her children with many excellent forms of nourishment. Everything nature creates has some special property, and each one is different. Herbs, plants, and stones possess great power. There is nothing on earth that is so evil that it does not provide the earth with some special quality. And there is nothing that does not turn bad if it is put to the wrong use, if abused. We know now that there must be an abuse coming, that it will use something from nature, and that it will be born from nature, but it must return to nature the same. Nothing can be so evil that it might not be dignified through action, and nothing can be so pure that it might not turn ill if used improperly. Love itself. In the wrong hands, it becomes overwhelming. But when harvested and used correctly, love is the greatest tincture, the greatest medicine. Within the infant rind of this small flower, poison hath residence and medicine power. For this being smelt, with that part cheers, each part being tasted, stays all senses with the heart. Two such opposing kings encamp them still, and man as well as herbs, grace and rude will